Hello and welcome to UC Today. My name's David Dungay. Today we have a very special show for you. We have our Christmas roundtable where we're going to be sharing our predictions and our thoughts on some of the biggest trends of 2023. I have with me some of the industry's greatest minds, the experts of our market. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me. There's a lot of you here. And we're going to get to your predictions in a moment. I want to start off with Adam Wilson from Vonage. Welcome to the show, Adam. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, David. Thank you very much for having me.
Excellent. So, Adam, would you like to share with us your prediction for 2023?
Absolutely. So, as David says, I'm Adam Wilson. I'm from Vonage. I'm Director of Strategic Partnerships. And my prediction for next year, 2023, is that the convergence of unified communications as a service and contact center as a service will continue. But now, in addition to that, we are seeing demand for integrations with more business applications such as CRM platforms, so customer relationship management platforms. That's my prediction.
Fantastic. So, Adam, I mean, we've been seeing this trend for quite some time now in terms of UCaaS and CCaaS. Coming together. But in this sort of multi-vendor world we're finding ourselves in, how are we going to bring this all together for customers and deliver that efficiently?
I think as the world embraces a hybrid work from anywhere model, we're having to think more about solutions and consider, how they can really deliver to the needs of customers, employees, and agents, all from a single engagement platform. So more and more businesses want and need the option of both unified communications, seamlessly integrated with contact center capabilities, and including access to the CRM, which of course holds all the customers' information about, what they're purchasing from your business and how they might, continue to drive further business for your organization. So this is absolutely still very much important, but as I mentioned, integrating seamlessly with the CRM is something we're absolutely seeing more and more of, and also in a way that allows solutions to be tailored to what individual customers are looking for. So that really requires a programmable application capability, and that's something that we're providing here at Vonage. So to sort of really summarize what we've provided here is we started off with a telephony stack to ensure that there were no additional costs between providing both unified communications and contact center solutions, ensuring that we embedded those capabilities together, providing one single pane of glass and a consistent experience for both types of users. Then we ensured that we had a two-way address book, so unified communication users can see entry points into the contact center, and contact center agents can dial, transfer, consult to UC users in the back office, for example. This was further developed by sharing presence as well between both the front office, where the contact center is being used, and the back office from a unified communications perspective. And also, of course, with the huge adoption of other applications like Microsoft Teams, doing so that, in a way that we're actually providing presence to and from those users as well in a completely unified manner. So that's what we've seen and have been providing here at Vonage. And, that is something that we will see a lot more of going into and throughout next year.
Excellent. Well, you got your plug in there as well, which is great. So let's open that out to the floor now. Who's got an opinion on that? Should we go to Blair? Do you want to come in on that? What are you seeing from this these worlds colliding? This integrated approach to UCaaS, CCaaS, and now CRM. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so as many people know, I've been talking about this since 1999. Before it was UCaaS and CCaaS, but the integration of all these things. And what I want to understand, we've seen this happen on the CCaaS side, where they can reach out to subject matter experts, in the back office. But what we haven't seen is UC users being able to access some of the contact center capabilities. What I want to know is how come when you call me, David, why don't I get a screen pop just like I would if I was a contact center agent with information about you, from if I had a CRM, our last call, information about, maybe what we discussed. So I want the contact center capabilities to be available to me as a knowledge worker, as a UC worker. So I want to see the integration go that way as well. And that I haven't really seen as much. But CRM, absolutely, we've been seeing the integration for a long time. And, as Adam mentioned, programmable, low code, no code types of platforms are making this much more available to people. So I think with APIs and low code platforms, we are going to be seeing different types of integrations and customizations a lot more frequently.
Fantastic. So I'm going to move it along now to our next prediction. It's actually back with you, Blair. It's the big M word, that's Metaverse. Give us your prediction for 2023.
Yeah, so I think we're going to hear a lot of rumblings about the metaverse. We're hearing it all the time, but I don't think there's going to be more than a small handful of vendors with real offerings and trials. We'll see things like, the use of avatars for meetings, but I don't think we're going to be seeing as many real business use cases of what people are calling the metaverse. So we're going to hear a lot about roadmap and direction, but I don't think we're going to see much more in 2023. I think it's going to take a while until vendors figure out what to do and really how to be present in the metaverse. And it's going to take even longer for customers to start using it and see what it's all about. So I think 2023 is going to be a lot of hype and talk about the metaverse, but not really too many use cases coming through.
Well, we're in a privileged position to have some of those vendors in the room today. Should we go and ask a few of them? Should we start with Aymeric? Do you want to weigh in on that, on the metaverse? Are you having meaningful conversations about the metaverse yet? What are your thoughts?
Well, I kind of agree with what Blair just said. The metaverse is clearly something that's going to take longer time to really implement into the UC&C. I'm not sure it's going to be a 2023 topic, to be clear. However, if I may to come back on something very interesting that has been said before, between the relationship of UC&C and contact center, I like pretty much the comment of Blair as well regarding the business user, because we in Alcatel do think that those kind of capabilities should be bring not only to the contact center agent, but also to the business user with screen popper, with relevant in-time information delivered to people, because what we really care about that is customer relationship, and it's not only dedicated to agents. So that was the comment I wanted to bring, linked to the previous statement.
Sure. Okay. How about Andy? What are your thoughts on the metaverse?
I mean, clearly, it's a technology or a capability that appeals and is driven by the latest generation. So, and at the Call and Contact Center show, there were a couple of technology vendors there showing how a virtual world or virtual navigation can be used as part of kind of an IVR to navigate yourself to the information you use as an extension to bot technology. So whilst it's kind of useful, makes for a nice demo, I think from a commercial point of view, it's only when those newer generation of workers are on the customer side and preferring that form of navigation that it's going to become endemic. I think for now it's something that we're starting to investigate, but I think the focusing on being more flexible in the way that we use digital channels, looking at selectively using voice and telephony as a complement to these other channels is really the priority we have. But it's a case of wait and see, but I think it's generational and it's going to be a while before it becomes mainstream.
Okay, so I'm conscious of time. We've got 8 predictions to get through, so I'm gonna move swiftly on to our next one. Is this coming back to Aymeric now from ALE? Would you like to give us your prediction for 2023?
Sure. So first of all, my name is Aymeric Senechal. I'm in charge of the cloud sales development for Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise. So my prediction for 2023 is that the UCaaS will become more and more mobile-centric than ever. We do see, thanks to the pandemic situation, a lot of requests for home working mobility. And in fact, now that we are back to the office for most of the companies, we do see that people want to keep this capability. They absolutely want to keep the ability to interact with their colleagues, with their customers, from their mobile, from everywhere, any device. So I do think this is my prediction.
Great. Okay, well, let's go to John Arnold now. Welcome, John. For you, why has mobility come back to the top of the list of demands for UCaaS, and does that tally with what you're sort of seeing in the market right now?
Well, sure, and I agree with Aymeric on this point, because we've been talking about mobile UC for years, and the user experience has never been good. It's never been, well integrated or kind of mobile first. But clearly, I mean, that's where people are, especially as hybrid work is the new normal. If they can't collaborate on their mobile phones, you're going to miss out on a big piece of what productivity is supposed to be about in 2023. So, one of the key pieces to this, I think, it's making that user experience really intuitive and just as good as any other like consumer-driven app that people use on their phones all day long. And so I think a starting point for that is having the native dialer capability in the phone, where it's used just like any other application, and having, for example, having eSIM capability in the phones where the service can be provisioned and managed. That's a big one for IT, because you've got that dual identity thing on the mobile device. How do you keep the business piece separate from the personal? How do you control the cost of using these mobile phones, especially when people are back to traveling now? There's a lot of pieces there that kind of can become obstacles for using mobile when you're collaborating. But I think if the vendors can address those pieces, some of them have done so already. And I think it's just a matter of time when that user experience, and I know, Blair, you'll agree with me on this, when that UX gets to be good and natural, I think you'll see the take up. And it's just a matter of where the people are, and they've got to be mobile. And that's where the UC is happening for a lot of people. So the vendors know, and the businesses know, that they've got to get their employees productive out of the office, and it's got to be a mobile experience for that to happen.
I want to take Paul Taylor's perspective on that one as well. Paul Taylor from Voiceflex. Obviously, Paul, you work with a few UC vendors in the space around this, the place mobility front and center. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's absolutely correct. I think it's a lot. It's about the user experience. I think when sort of UCaaS hit the market, and all the panel will have been selling UCaaS years before the pandemic, but it never took off the ground. So we see a lot of organisations using the messaging facilities a lot more. People are a lot more productive. And when the mobile phone first came out, it was a voice-only application. I think now, as we all know, the mobile is a multi-tiered application for a lot of integrations with a lot of people, whether using WebRTC, whether using WhatsApp, whether using signaling devices between other colleagues. The UC applications here, and I think the user experience is a fantastic thing. It's like a lot of apps. If you get an app and it doesn't work after 2 or 3 tries, that app's gone and you get to the next one. And I think that's the user experience where everybody's going. So I agree with the panel that we are very much coming to a mobile first experience for communicating on various levels.
Fantastic. Well, let's move to our next prediction. I want to get to Mark Bunnell from Nuwave. Hi, Mark. How you doing? Tell us your prediction.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I think in 2023, the focus with maybe coming recession or tougher times, we've already started to see that in the high-tech companies, the layoffs and whatnot. The prediction will be that carrier operators, customers, and partners will be focused on efficiencies and how to reduce expenses and costs.
So, Mark, sticking with cost reductions and efficiencies, what are you seeing? What are Nuwave doing to really help customers get through this troublesome period ahead?
Yeah, what we're really doing is showing, carrier operators, partners, and customers how they can do more with less, using automation and how they can have one person do the full management of their voice estate, be able to bring in other carriers for bring your own voice and things like that. So you can really, move the people around to not have them doing the real mundane types of, services. They can go into, helping customers and providing white glove, types of services. So we're eliminating network infrastructure for some carrier operators where they want to just bring their carriers directly into us and have iPilot, control all of that. If they're, customers and they want to eliminate on-premise SBCs and support contracts and different services there, they can eliminate that and truly go to the cloud. If you are expecting customers to go from an on-premise phone system to a cloud phone system, you have to give them the same level of visibility and control over that. And that's exactly what we do, is we enable, full management and visibility of your system, when you go to the cloud, so that you don't miss a beat and you can do, again, more with less.
Yeah, absolutely. The big economic troubles ahead. Let's open that up straight to the floor then. Where are people going to be making these cost reductions, these efficiencies, to get the most out of their technology in 2023? Andy, do you want to give us an opinion on that?
Absolutely. So we keep talking about contact center, CCaaS, UCaaS. Essentially, for many customers, these are siloed applications delivered by separate vendors. So one of the key areas of efficiency is looking or striving towards single platform solutions where you have a single cloud capability which is delivering user experiences that span both. And equally to the point earlier on about how do we enable the back office guys to have contact center capabilities. The way you do that is employing a platform where capabilities can be persona-based rather than being UCaaS or CCaaS-based. And that's particularly something that 8x8 with its XCaaS, Experience Communications as a Service, feels that we are absolutely in the right place to do that.
Aymeric, what are your thoughts on cost reductions and efficiency savings right now?
So I see two components for that, at least from my angle, for the Alcatel-Lucent enterprise experience. As you know, which is kind of different about many of you, we do rely on a legacy business phone system also. So we get two flavors. And many of our customers having this legacy-based system are quite happy when we can bring the UCNC on top, but only for the users that need it. So it's not a big bang. It's a smooth transition, and they pay only for what they consume. So this capability to not just do everything or nothing is one aspect. The second one is in the European market. Microsoft is dominant, and probably this is another topic we will discuss with the Teams environment that is spread all across multiple companies, and offering an ability to bridge the voice component toward Microsoft Teams at a very economic price is also something interesting on both angles. The price and resiliency, and that's probably something we're going to touch later on, David. But that's a door opener for later on in the discussion.
Okay, so we've mentioned the Microsoft words. Should we move to our next prediction? Paul Taylor, give us your prediction.
Yeah, I mean, we're a SIP service provider as well as a UCaaS application provider. Our biggest growth market on SIP is Teams direct routing. But the analysis we've seen is that it tends to be for the larger organisations. Normally we're putting, and we don't do it per user, we do it per SIP trunk. And we're seeing 50, 60, 70, 80, 100, 200, 300 SIP trunks going in. We're not seeing that actually scale down. I think we're going to start seeing that scale down now, where you're going to get the organisation with sub 100 users. They're going to start using Microsoft Teams as an application. it's a giant you can't ignore. So I think the prediction I sort of see is that the Microsoft Teams direct routing is going to start coming below the sub 100 user marketplace.
Yeah, it's so much going on around the Microsoft space right now. It's absolutely fascinating. I don't know if any of you saw the recent news around Slack. May have had a bit of a pop at Microsoft, claiming that the bundling of Teams into the Office bundle is anti-competitive. So we're waiting to find out if the EU is going to do anything about that. So I guess the question to the table is, what would this mean if Microsoft are forced to bring out Teams from that bundle? What would this mean for the market? And then second question, when are we going to see the SMB join the direct routing services, if at all? Mark, what are your thoughts on this question, whether Teams will take out the Teams application from that Office bundle, and when are we going to see SMBs join the direct routing party, as it were?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the bundles broken apart. I think it helps differentiate some of the different players. If it has to be a separate offering, so it's kind of my opinion on that. But as far as the SMBs go, we're seeing a great uptick in SMBs. We're enabling many partners to be able to do that now through our iPilot software. So it's I think the SMB portion didn't really come to fruition early on because you needed PowerShell proficient people. They're just really hard to come by, and so it made it a little bit more complex to manage that phone system. But when you have full automation and you don't have to worry about PowerShell, it's all point and click. A single individual can manage their entire voice estate. With our service, we're really seeing that we're doing a ton of SMBs. We're empowering other white label partners and service providers underneath us to have that capability. And then with our iPilot Ascent product, where you can have self activation, where you can turn up and get a trial account in 10 minutes and then convert that to a production account. Those are all lined out specifically for the SMB market, and we've seen a huge uptick in that amount of business and those customers that are coming in every single day. So I think that the SMB portion is here. I think that it'll continue to ramp up, when people, understand that you don't have to worry about the complexities of PowerShell and other things to manage and operate that phone system.
Fantastic. Well, let's come back to Jamie. You had a few technical difficulties there, Jamie, but I'm really keen to hear your thoughts on what this means for the market and whether you think the SMB is going to be, joining the party when it comes to direct routing.
So I relate to it. A lot of enterprises we've got a number of enterprises on our platform, ranging from everything from 500 to 8,000, just over 8,000 users. We're struggling to get it down into the SME market. We don't actually want them to go down into the SME market because we're a WebEx platform. But what we're seeing a lot of drive is actually the WebEx. WebEx has got a really neat integration into a number of the Microsoft applications, which is actually pushing Microsoft into where WebEx into the Microsoft space. But what we're seeing the biggest drive, especially from that SME market, is obviously there's a cost factor to it. But this WebEx has a soft phone only application, so you're removing the collaboration functionality and doing a plugin into Microsoft Teams. That's our biggest growth area, and I think the hurdle is that cost element to it. And I think that the cost is one side of things, but I think also the usability. A lot of people actually don't realise that actually Microsoft Teams is a good tool. There's a lot of functionality you get with it. Things like the SLAs, the carrier resilience and stuff like that. Obviously, that's where the platform comes into it. That's not what you get from Microsoft. But the enterprise appreciate that understanding and the value it offers. So really, we're seeing a big push to Microsoft, but we're actually seeing a driver towards a alternative application once they start going into the cost elements, which is where WebEx factors in.
Great. Okay. Well, let's move on to our next prediction. We're sticking with you, Jamie. Actually, do you want to give us your prediction?
Yeah, thanks, David. So obviously, hybrid working is here to stay. It's not going to go anywhere. What we are seeing, and I think this is going to continue from this year, is just around businesses committing to the applications that they're currently working with. We're seeing a big drive where people have maybe gone down a Microsoft Teams route for their application to do collaborative messaging, call-in, video and stuff. But what we're seeing is actually a more strategic route, and actually maybe that tool wasn't right for them. They just jumped to the right tools. We're still seeing a lot of people that are using mobile and they're just doing call forwarding. And so I think what's quite pivotal for next year is I think people are still going to be looking at the technology choices, moving away from the quick fixes, from the pandemic side of things. And I think also out of the box solutions, people are looking away from that, and people want actually a custom fit. They want a bespoke solution. They want something that's tailored for them. I think it was touched on earlier. I think one of the biggest things that we're seeing is a bit like the Salesforce and the Dynamics. We're seeing a drive away from the big kind of one product fix all to more sector specific solutions. So whether that's a recruitment CRM or a housing association CRM, and integrating that into the platform. What we're also seeing is actually a big drive from a energy efficiency side of things. Again, moving to soft phone away from that desk phone.
Great. So quite a lot in there to unpack, but let's stick with the tailored solution, the out of the box solutions. I'm really interested in why people are going towards that more bespoke, tailored approach. Should we come to Adam Wilson? What does this mean from a customer and channel perspective? Is this trend going to drive value and move us sort of away from that commoditization we've seen around UCaaS and bring that value back? What are your thoughts?
I think absolutely there's a huge opportunity here for the channel. Every customer expects to have, a tailored solution to fit their needs and their pain points and their challenges. And we're going to see more and more of that. And there's a huge opportunity for the channel to provide that level of, intimacy to the customer and, be the advice and guidance towards the vendors to make sure that we provide those tailored solutions. So an example could be, I mentioned CRM earlier, and the fact that we should be providing UC and CC from one platform, heavily integrated into core business applications. We all know that there are many channels that we're, as business people, being hit with. It's no longer a one-time telephone conversation to buy a product from a company. So, what we're seeing is we're adding, other channels to our customers' existing channels. We work with a UK charity who only wanted to use the voice channel to serve their customers and saw a huge spike in the use of that voice channel. So we were able to help them provide a new service to their customers, a web chat service that would use our SMS API to send them a link whereby customers could click on that link and then enter into a web chat which gave them the ability to serve more customers and improve customer experience, and that's of course hugely impactful for them. So we need to be doing more of that, and we need to be guided by our channel. They're crucial to our success and our growth.
Yeah, absolutely. Aymeric, have you got a thoughts on that and what this movement towards tailored bespoke solutions means for partners and customers?
Yeah, thank you, David. I wanted to jump in because clearly this is in our DNA with ALE. But the tailored solution, I will describe that from a rainbow perspective, which is a solution we do sell in Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise. We target at enabling our customers to deliver augmented collaborators. What I mean by augmented collaborators is really about this tailored solution, but it's kind of more than that. It's not only tailored like doing pretty nice and bringing the logo on or adapting the scenario, but it's also bringing relevant data in front of the user for them to make the best decision. And I give some example, like a crisis management scenario. It's important in a crisis time to have real-time, not only communication, but information. So bringing IoT device information, bringing IP camera capabilities to see real time what's happening in a crisis scenario for national security, or also for the hospitality environment, not only doing alerting, but also bringing all those capabilities for the user to take the best decision at the right time. And this is exactly what we intend to do. It's UC&C is not only about communication, because communication is cool when everything is fine, but it's become critical in time of crisis. So that's exactly what I described with the tailored solution environment for Alcatel.
Fantastic. Well, I think that nicely brings us on to our next prediction. We're moving over to Andy from 8x8. Andy, do you want to give us your prediction for 2023?
So in 2023, there's a big priority for organizations. Employee experience. We believe employee experience will be of utmost priority, way above customer experience. And there's a reason for this. We're seeing coming out of the pandemic, the whole, I guess, whether you call it the great resignation, the great reprioritization, the fact that the people that are driving customer experience are those employees at the end of the phone or managing channels. So unless you can keep hold of those. And so what we're seeing is a lot of the employees in organizations saying, I am not going to work for you anymore unless you can enable me to hybrid work, unless you give me effective tools that I can work where I need to work. And if I'm younger generation, I'm part of the gig economy. I'm not necessarily going to stay with an employee for the rest of my working career. So as employers, we expect that our customers and customers that come on board will be extremely driven by us as a vendor providing their employees with the type of productivity tools, the persona type user interfaces, the management tools for their supervisors to make sure that they're motivated and effective.
Fantastic. So I want to go to Adam first of all on this one. EX employee experience overtaking customer experience. Who would have thought that would have happened quite so soon? But how do you feel companies can invest wisely when it comes to their employee experience to get the most out of their people, if you like?
Absolutely. I think, technology can play a part, but it's not the complete answer. I mean, we're living, at the moment in a time of a cost of living crisis, certainly through a period of, increased mental health well-being. And it's crucial that we look after our people. Technology can play a role. Like I say, it's not the full answer to all of those things, but we have seen the capability of being able to transcribe voice in real time, not just post call. Use that to pop knowledge articles to agents. Use that to provide the next best action to the agent, so that even in a time of maybe where they are working from home and they don't have people immediately next to them to ask a question, they have those kind of triggers to ensure that they are delighting the customer and continually feeling like they're empowered and they're feeling good about they've got good job satisfaction levels. So things like that can play a role. But we have seen, of course, the fact that this technology has led some companies to closing down their call centers because lots of people are now able to work in a hybrid situation from home or wherever they are remotely. But we need to ensure that we look after their well-being, and technology can play a role. And that's there's some of the examples I gave just now of how we're trying to help with that.
Fantastic. I want to come to Jamie next. What are your thoughts on employee experience and how customers can invest wisely?
Yeah, I think great question again. I think it's sometimes it's a false economy. Sometimes I think a lot of companies they look at the software and they go, right, I'm going to go for the cheapest software that's possible, and then they deploy that, and then they supply with the cheapest hardware possible as well. And from a customer experience, from a user experience, I think that's quite poor. I think obviously when you're looking at the tools that you provide an employee, I think you have to put yourself into their own shoes and go, right, would I be happy using these tools? Is it reliable? Is it the quality of voice coming through? There's nothing worse than apologizing for poor technology. We shouldn't be apologizing for it at all. So I think when you're looking at the software solutions in the market, I think it's quite key to look at pedigrees. And then from looking at pedigrees is actually looking at the pedigrees of the devices that hook up onto them, because it's great having good software, but if you've got a poor headset in the background, it's not going to do anyone any favors.
Great. Okay. Well, I think let's get on to our final prediction of today. John, Arnold, give us your prediction.
Okay, thanks. So it's kind of an extension of what we just talked about with employee experience. And the idea here is really about the bigger picture of hybrid work, where companies are going to be starting to focus more on, in 2023, getting productivity and workflow out of their workforce. In other words, as opposed to just deploying the latest technology like UCaaS to make it easier to communicate, that's already kind of done, I think. UCaaS as an evolution from prem-based UC has kind of solved a lot of the challenges that UC initially tried to address by having that kind of one interface to have all the applications working kind of in sync. That's a big step forward. We've kind of done that now, and most of those issues aren't really problematic. Look at how we're all doing video now. We don't even think twice about it. So I think to get to that point, you've given the employees the core tools they need, and now the focus really should be shifting to more, how do we know we're getting good productivity out of our workers individually and of course in teams. So the hybrid model, I think we've all kind of accepted that there's going to be that ongoing mix of work from anywhere idea, and office experience has got to be on par with the home experience and vice versa. So there's going to be more focus, I think, on using tools that measure productivity, participation, and we're seeing this from a lot of the big vendors in their UCaaS solutions, and a few of the guys here in the room too, where some of the applications built into the UCaaS are things like about utilization of rooms, utilization of endpoints, things like length of time in meetings, how many meetings we're having, things like that will help us kind of get a sense of, well, are we having enough meetings, having too many meetings, and are we getting quality results from these forms of collaboration? So in other words, are there benchmarks? We don't have them really yet, but to measure the kind of the quality of productivity we're getting, I think over time that will come from things like, are we getting more, productivity out of our teams? In other words, are we bringing products to market faster? Are we having shorter meetings? Is everyone participating? That whole thing about equity and inclusion, these are big factors to drive productivity. These tools make it easy for everybody to contribute equally, whereas before it wasn't as easy. I'm going to stop there because there's a lot here to build on. But I think the idea is we're moving beyond just core communications from UCaaS to the bigger picture. And we haven't even touched, guys, on AI and how that's got a big role to play in evaluating what productivity really means.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's this is a big question, right? Hybrid work and what this next phase of hybrid work is going to look like. I'd really like to go around the room and just get a little bit of a comment from each of you on your thoughts of what this next phase of hybrid work is going to look like for 2023. I'm going to start with Paul Taylor. Do you want to give us your thoughts on that?
I think John's absolutely right. You've got to look after your employees, and even more when they're remote, because they may not see anybody all day. So I think it's very important. I think there's going to be a lot of sort of HR apps which actually come out for how well an employee's doing, how well they're doing, what's their meta score, health being and everything. And I think it's very important. I think what we are seeing is a lot more automation actually entering the marketplace because we are remote now, so we have to live on automation. And if we can automate things as quick as possible, it saves all those mundane tasks being done by certain individuals and brings the consensus to better. So they're working on more meaningful projects going forward. So I think it's definitely going to be a shift forward. And you're right, there's got to be applications out there to actually look after the well-being of the staff.
Great. Mark, Bunnell.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of the same that we've seen. It's going to be about, engagement, inclusion, making sure that, you have different integrations that help people be more efficient and to be able to do their job, more quickly, that they are able to collaborate with all their peers and whatnot. And so it's just more of the same as mentioned earlier. Technology is a portion of it, but it's not the end all be all. And so I think it's just going to have to, continue to build on the foundation that's been laid.
Right. Let's go to Andy next.
So I think, as Gartner said, total experience is a combination of customer experience, employee experience, but most importantly, user experience. So the way we look at it, the more that you can tailor a user environment, a user experience to the persona or the way of working, the more better equipped the user is going to be in doing their role. So that's an area that we're focusing on, whether it's an interface specific to operators, an interface that's tailored for salespeople, for administrators. So there's a whole library of capabilities, but these need to be delivered in a way that are effective, easy to deploy, easy to manage, and effective for those individuals.
Great. Aymeric.
Yeah, I think that UC&C on the productivity side is not only linked to communication. I will be just a bit provocative here, but basically, I do think we can do much more things using and leveraging the interface, the mobility we all provide to the users and our customers. I would give a small example. In Alcatel, we are selling a component which is called Network Advisory, which is in fact embedded into the UC&C. And what does that do is that it just help technical people to do jobs without being connected to any management system or advisory system. So anybody, even in this room, could receive a message to the UC&C platform saying, for example, well, you got a loop in your switch ports number X. But not only you receive it as a notification, but also you receive an adaptive card saying, do you want to disable the port? Yes, no. And like anybody of you don't even need to know the CLI of the switch. You don't even need to connect to a management platform. You just press yes, and the port is disabled. So that's just an example. There's many more. But what I mean by that is that you can think as UC&C as being your access to different capabilities, which is increasing the productivity, but not necessarily only linked to the communication component. To me, UC&C can also be the connection platform, the gateway between different SaaS systems, such as management tools, CRM, ITSM, by automation of ticketing and such like that. So I would see the productivity layer way more than just only communication and instant messaging capabilities.
Great, thank you. Let's go to Adam next.
Well, I'm going to take the hint on AI a little bit here. I think, AI has the potential to help us with self-service. And I think this could well play a role in this hybrid use case, of course, because, voice is still crucial for vulnerable members of society and for complex issues. And, inside sales and customer services, whose job it is to talk to our customers, they're going to need to take on board those more important, critical conversations. And they're going to undoubtedly leverage new tools that vendors like ourselves around the table today are going to bring to market to enable self-service. So it's not just a case of a bot on a website. It's it's a conversational AI capability. It's a natural language understanding capability. But crucially, it helps us pre-capture the issues. It helps us triage. It helps us move the more complex requirements upstream to our human agents, and then hope that that encourages them to continue their learning, their training, and then make them feel good about their roles within our companies. And I think that's crucial for their mental health, and I think that's going to play a huge role. But I echo some of the sentiments said here about some of the HR applications. Undoubtedly, we will need to look after them when they're at home and ensure there isn't this burnout situation occurring. But I think some of these tools will help.
Great. And last but not least, Jamie, what is hybrid work going to look like from your perspective next year?
Yeah, we were talking about this last week actually, and we've had some people that have joined within say the COVID side of things, and obviously that interaction with them joining to how an interaction prior to that is obviously a lot different. Whilst you don't want it to be different, I think we do need to use the tools available in order to compensate some of that. But I think what's quite key is the engagement from people. I think using technology is one thing, but we always need to be able to be available, because when we're on Teams meetings, you very quickly forget that actually you've still got a team behind you. You still got different departments that you liaise with. So it's quite important that everyone still takes a step back and actually still communicates with each other, because technology is going to fill a gap, but it's never going to fill the void that a face-to-face, a human interaction is kind of that conversation.
Fantastic. Okay, well, look, we've had such a great wide range of predictions today and opinions alongside. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for, but I'd like to say thank you to everyone who got involved. This has been fascinating, and I think our audience are going to get a lot of value out of this. And thank you to everyone for watching. Don't forget you can follow those predictions in the description. I'll put a link into those. There's many more predictions than we could possibly cover today, so make sure you check that out and enjoy your Christmas and have a great New Year.